Welcome back to Boom and Bust. I'm your host, Tony Clement, here with our monthly panel, including Christian Paradis, former industry minister. But it's Joe Oliver who has the floor. He's been waiting patiently. And Joe, I'd love to get your point of view on what you see as the major issues that have unfolded, and maybe also take since Christian gave us a great tour of what's going on in Quebec, maybe give us your assessment of how things are going in Ontario.
Sure. I mean, the issue is there a valid question? And I'm not sure that there really is. You know, you listen to the pollsters and they say, you know, right on top is climate change and health. Well, try as the Liberals might, they can't seem to get a huge difference between the policies of the two parties. There are some, but it's not stark. And you know, as Christian said, it was absolutely critical for Aaron O'Toole to define himself early. He, you know, people would say, well, he hasn't been out there. Of course, he was out there all the time. It's just the press wasn't reporting it, and now, of course, they are. And the fact that he was out there defining himself as a moderate, someone who's competent, someone who cares, Mr. Canada with a smile, that has been very important in creating the alternative to the Liberals who are and to the Prime Minister, who is obviously declining in public support. It seems by the day. But you know, and we always say that elections aren't won by the opposition, rather the governments defeat themselves. But even if they're in the process of doing that, there has to be an alternative, and Aaron O'Toole is presenting himself that way. One of the issues which the pollsters don't seem to talk about, but it seems to me is pretty damn important, and that is people's standard of living and their ability to actually pay the essentials, to pay for food, to pay for lodgings, to maintain their standard of living. And what we have now is a resurgence of inflation, and people are quite worried about pocketbook issues, I think, in a way that may be underestimated. And here you get into the broad issue of who's able to be competent enough to deal with those critical economic issues. And I think in that regard, all the polls that I've seen suggest that Aaron O'Toole creates a higher degree of confidence, and traditionally the Conservatives have as well. But that issue wasn't quite as in the front of things as I think it now is, as we gradually emerge from the recession, and a lot of the support programs are going to be gone. So people are going to be very concerned about where the economy is going, and even issues of debt, which I'm concerned about, but I keep being told no one else is. Well, I think people.
You may be just slightly ahead of your time, Joe.
I may be a lot ahead of my time in that regard, but I do think that people understand affordability, and I just think the inflation numbers, and now actually we're in stagflation. I mean, the economy fell in the last quarter, and inflation rose to 3.7%. That's not a great backdrop for the governing party.
Gary Marr, we've got just over a minute left in this segment, but I'm curious to know what your assessment is in Alberta of some of these other parties like the People's Party of Canada and the kind of the Western alienation vote. Is that going to be a big factor, do you think, at the end of the day?
Those parties from all the polls that I've seen are like the Maverick Party and the People's Party. They appear to be in sort of single-digit numbers. I don't think that there's any Conservative members of Parliament who are incumbents who are lying awake at night being concerned about that. The numbers in Alberta that I've seen is that support for the Conservative Party is somewhere around 56%. And there are ridings within where it'd be probably closer to 80 or 85%. It's a similar situation province of Saskatchewan. There are pockets of people in Manitoba and Alberta and Saskatchewan that may be inclined to vote Liberal, but I don't think that it's going to be significant in terms of turnout for Liberals.
We're going to have to take a brief break, but we'll be back with our panel. Please stay with us.